I'm John Hinkle, Senior Pastor of First Presbyterian Church here in downtown Murfreesboro on the corner of College and Spring. This is your Saturday morning preview of Sunday morning sermon, which I'm doing late, not that late on Friday afternoon, but, I'm thinking about going home. But that being said, I've been in Nashville a good portion of the day in a meeting, and now I'm back and I'm about to go over my sermon. So here we are. I kind of say this in the beginning of my sermon. We're kind of, I wouldn't call it the rock in the hard place, but we don't have much wiggle room when it comes to the liturgical year. We just finished two big Sundays, Reformation Sunday and then All Saints Sunday. And then we have these two Sundays, and then it's Christ the King. And that ends the liturgical year. So just 3 Sundays, and the liturgical year ends. And then, I've told you it's coming, first Sunday of Advent. And I've always wrestled with, well, what do you do with these 3 Sundays? Some years I've connected it with All Saints Sunday and kind of ended it with Christ the King. But this year, I thought I would go to an old standby. We're going to look at the life of Jesus as prophet, priest, and king. That should sound familiar to you. Jesus is prophet, priest, and king. It was a way for the ancient church, those what would we call it? I don't want to call it categories. I want to call it positions. The position of prophet, the position of priest, the position of king, to help connect the church to the fulfillment of the Old Testament. Meaning the role of prophet, the role of priest, the role of kings were ways that God gave guidance to the Jewish people. And all of this is fulfilled in Jesus Christ. Jesus is prophet, priest, and king. And it was solidified in John Calvin's systematic theology, where he specifically talks about how Jesus is the great prophet, how Jesus is the great priest, how Jesus is the great king. And this Sunday, we're going to look at how Jesus is the prophet. Now, the first and great prophet, according to Jewish faith, is Moses. And there's this great moment where Moses and the Hebrew people, they've been wandering the desert for 40 years, trying to make their way into this land that had been promised to them, first by Abraham, then Isaac, then Jacob. And now they're there. They're right at the threshold. And Moses tells them, I'm not going in there with you. You're going to have to go into the promised land by yourself. But there will come one who will follow me, and he will speak to you. And the truth is, God has been giving the Jewish people prophet after prophet. We know them as the major prophets and the minor prophets. Some of the people, some of the times, would listen to the prophets. Other times, they would just ignore the prophets. And sometimes, we know they actually killed the prophets. Well, as believers in Jesus Christ, we wear resurrected glasses, meaning we look at life, including the Old Testament, through the lens of the resurrection. And thus, we see Jesus as the fulfillment of the prophet, meaning he is not just a prophet, he is the prophet. And our text this Sunday is actually going to be a familiar text to you. It's the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verses 1 through 14. In the beginning was the Word. And who was the Word? The Word was Jesus. As we confess in Nicene Creed, Jesus is fully God, fully man, and that Word became flesh and blood and lived in our neighborhood. So we're going to explore this Sunday how it is that Jesus is our last great prophet. And what does that mean for our lives? How do we actually apply this knowledge of Jesus being prophet in our daily lives? What does that look like? Not only as we try to live out our lives, how we try to live out our lives with other people. So also, just want to let you know, we are the Sunday before Veterans Day. We're going to recognize our veterans again. Grateful. I am always grateful for those men and women who heard the call to serve our country in the armed services. And I'm grateful especially for those men and women in our congregation. I cannot thank them enough. We cannot thank them enough. And we're going to talk to you this Sunday about a group that we're trying to get together. We're calling it Soldiers Helping Soldiers. We kind of had an initial conversation about what that could look like, what we could do. But we're going to talk to you about what that could look like for us moving forward. So that's it. Hey, listen, Auburn plays Vanderbilt. The good news is we fired our football coach, so that helps. So that's it. I hope you all have a great Saturday. I hope to see you Sunday. Shout out to the super fans, Marcy, Barry, and Melanie, Glenn, Emery, Savannah, Pippa, and all of you who watch this. Hey, if you watch to the end, remember to subscribe and hit the bell. That just helps get the word out about what's going on in the corner of College and Spring. Y'all have a great day.